Today on Quillbilly Garage, we're going to take a look at a car that has been part of my life for as long as I can remember. This is a 1963 Studebaker Avanti. Studebaker made this model for 2 years, the 63 model year and 1964 model year. For those of you who know your Avantis, you're already noticing the square headlight covers and maybe saying to yourself, hey, well, that's a 64 because it's got square headlight covers. A 63 should have round headlight covers, and that is true. This car was wrecked early on, probably in the 60s, and when they repaired it with a nose piece off of a 64. Some other things they did to this car at the same time: they changed the color from gray to red, and they removed all of the Studebaker specific badging on the exterior. These cars are powered by a 289 cubic inch Studebaker V8. I point that out because, of course, Ford had a popular engine that was also 289 cubic inches. Has nothing to do with the Studebaker engine. You could get an Avanti with a supercharger. This one is not a supercharged car. The non-supercharged Avantis had 240 horsepower. The supercharged ones had 289 horsepower, so 1 horsepower per cubic inch. This one's a Borg-Warner automatic transmission. You could also have ordered them with a 3-speed manual transmission or a 4-speed manual transmission. This car has 456 rear end gears and twin traction. So my parents bought this car in the mid-70s, and when I was just a little guy, we moved from the Midwest to the West Coast, and this was the car that I rode in. I've got the car out at the moment. I'm changing storage locations, so I took this opportunity to get it all cleaned up, re-oil the cylinders, and roll the engine over a few times. Back in high school, with the help of a friend's father, we rebuilt the engine completely. Then I had the transmission rebuilt. We got the car all back together about the time I was in college, and had it running, ran great, and then realized that the frame had some severe rust damage at the very back. So all that stuff that I just put in, the rebuilt engine, transmission, new brakes, new springs, all came back out so that I could repair the frame. The frame repair has been completed, but the project has been on hold for a good long time now. The body is just sitting there right now, not bolted down. The engine and transmission are in it, but they're not set up to where they could run. This damage you see back here, we were backing the car out of the garage once, and the brake fluid had leaked out, and we ended up backing it into a tree. So some fiberglass repair needs to be done there. That's actually when we realized the frame was in bad shape. The impact with the tree, and it was very slow speed, but the impact with the tree buckled the frame at the back. It was so thin from rust. I mentioned the badging had been changed on this one. That Avanti emblem you see on the trunk, that's what should be on the front of the car, and there would be a Studebaker emblem on the back. Most of the interior is in storage, the seats anyhow. We're just looking at the bare fiberglass floor here. can't see it from here, but this car's only got 63 or 64,000 original miles on it. Again, it's a 289 cubic inch engine, has a Carter AFB 4-barrel carburetor. So we had 2 of these in our family. And it's funny, going to gas stations, everybody, not everybody, but people think they know everything about them, and they say things like, oh, those had Ford engines, didn't they? Or yeah, a buddy of mine had one of those back in '57. Well, no, he didn't. And weren't those all supercharged? Well, no, they're not. But when Studebaker quit making the Avanti, the Avanti name and I believe all the molds and parts and things like that were sold to another company that produced a car called an Avanti 2, which was essentially the same car. They were Chevy powered, used the same frame. They had to do a few slight modifications to the body just due to the positioning of the engine. And Avanti 2s were made, I think, the last year that you could get I don't know if they kept calling them Avanti 2s, but the last year that an Avanti, again, not a Studebaker, but an Avanti was produced was in 2006. I'd say from the mid 60s to the early 80s, I think they pretty much looked just like this car here. And then they started going into the molded bumpers that are molded into the car and things like that. This car of course doesn't have the bumpers on it, so you don't get a good idea what it looks like with those. Well, thank you again for watching my channel. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, please like and subscribe. Till next time.